Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming to the event today. So we're here today to talk about an exciting project, the Bull Run Filtration Facility and Filtration Pipeline project. And we'll go over that in a little bit more details. So we wanted to cover the fact that the Bull Run treatment program includes two separate projects. We've got one that's the filtration facility where the water is actually going to be treated at a rate of up to 135 million gallons per day as a brand new greenfield treatment plant. And we, as MWH Kiewit, is the CMGC. The second part of the program is the Bull Run Filtration Pipelines, and I'll hand it over to Joe to talk about that.
Thank you, John. As John indicated, the pipeline project itself is being the CMGC is the Bull Run Conveyance Partners. We're a 50-50 JV of MWH and JW Fowler. The project itself includes, on the raw water pipe side, approximately a half a mile of pipeline, two large 72-inch diameter pipes which will be serving the water going through a tunnel and up a shaft 260 feet, and then serving the filtration facility that John and the team is managing from the MWH Kiewit team. We'll be taking that on the finished water side and taking it through a finished water intertie and then making connections to the three conduits that serve back to Portland Water.
So I'll talk a little bit more about the filtration facility or the plant and talk a bit about the packages that have been put out to bid at the moment. And so we've got two sort of separate sections here. One is a competitively bid group of packages among the equity community. These will be a low bid selection process and include things like the temporary fencing, security, street sweeping, and trucking. I'll talk a little bit more about trucking later in the presentation. And then on the right, we have competitively bid on the open market packages. And these include a lot of the larger packages like the concrete for the facility. They're also talking about process mechanical, large packages, but each of these tier one subcontractors will also require equity participation. So these are all people that it would be good to.
On the pipeline, similar scenario, we are broken up into 23 overall S packages. Those packages at the start, a number of large diameter water pipelines. We mentioned earlier the two raw water pipelines and the raw water tunnel. Finished water pipelines are the larger diameter SO4 package, SO9, and S17 packages. There's a number of packages which are focused specifically for equity contractors, specifically S19 through S23, which are the site services packages. In addition to that, there's some of the smaller diameter packages like S10 and the traffic control package S15. This slide also shows you our due dates for our bid packages. That is changing somewhat as we move forward. So we'll be sending out an updated list of this and as well as our contact for each of the pre-qualified contractors for these packages. All the data, we bid our packages using Building Connected, and Building Connected, if you haven't had a chance to be invited to it yet, both Ben and my contact information are up there. You can reach out to us and we can get you an invite to those packages so you can see, to Building Connected, so you can see all the different packages.
With that, I'll turn it over to Paula to discuss some of the city procurement processes.
Hi, folks. I just going to talk a little bit about the Regional Workforce Equity Agreement. One thing I want to point out is it is regional. It is not just a city program. So you're going to be seeing this around with a lot of different agencies. So I just wanted to point that out and highlight it. Please make sure you're reading through this because it's not going away. It's not just city projects. So it is regional. There are a lot of requirements within this equity agreement, so I encourage you to take a look at it, do a deep dive. If you have questions, make sure you ask them in advance. There are serious goals here for workforce, so you want to make sure that you're looking through these and finding out what you need to do to comply. Then go back to the next note before this, please. One of the requirements is that you sign a letter of assent. So make sure you read that. You do have to do this, and every contractor that's on the project will have to sign this form. Also want to talk a little bit about the high road contractor form. This is another one that is required for all subcontractors to submit and sign. There are a lot of requirements in here. I'm just going to take a quick moment to highlight some of them. You have to provide your subcontractor information. You have to submit if you've had BOLI violations within a certain period of time. You have to have health care coverage. That's an important one. If you need resources for that or you have questions about it, please make sure you reach out and ask those questions in advance. There are apprenticeship requirements again, and then you also have certification requirements. And there's opportunities in here as well. I'm just going to do a real quick caveat. Actually, it's on the next slide. All right. So this other program is called the CDIP, or the Construction Diversity Inclusion Policy. This is where your subcontractor participation comes into play. COVID certification is very important. However, we also have opportunities for contractors who are not COVID certified. If you self-certify, you have to fill out a form, but you can participate as a certified firm, self-identified. There is criteria, like you can only have a small contract of $150,000 or less, and you have to be local. But that's an opportunity. If you can't get certified through COVID or there's some issue, please make sure you check into that, because it is an opportunity that is on this project. Also, we have Faye Birch, Andre Baugh, Jennifer Erickson are all resources for you. So please make sure if you have questions that you reach out to them, and I'm a resource as well. Next slide. The last thing I want to talk about is the Clean Air Construction Standard policy. We don't have somebody doing this for us right now, but we do have information that's available under this Clean Air Construction website. There's a phone number that is being answered by a live person. So make sure that if you have questions about this, that you read through it, you get those questions answered in advance. There is some information on the back table for how to register your equipment and to comply with this program. So make sure you're reading through that. Let's see. I think that's it for me. Next slide. All right, I'm going to turn it back over to John.
Thanks, Paula. So once again, back on the filtration facility itself, the same list that we had earlier on, and just wanted to highlight once again the packages that we have available to be competitively bid in the equity market. And so, yeah, to bid on these packages, you've got to be a certified equity contracting firm. It's going to be packages awarded on the lowest responsive bid and does require previous pre-qual. Now, show of hands, who was on the site tour yesterday that we did for the project? Okay, quite a few of the people here. I think one of the things that was important yesterday is to identify like exactly where the plant was. Roads are like leading up to the plant, and that's probably particularly pertinent to the package that I've got highlighted here, the SO1 trucking package. The roads are relatively. Oh, next slide, sorry. For the trucking package, obviously access in and out is relatively tight. Some of the highlights of this is going to be a long-term commitment for trucking. It's going to probably extend over the course of probably over 2 years. Going to require moving somewhere in the order of 700 to 750,000 cubic yards of material off-site. And it's going to go to very specific pre-designated disposal sites that we have identified. So the location, the distance, everything else is already known. And to be able to get through that amount of moving within the time frame that we have, it's likely that we'll be looking at more than one trucking company to provide all of the scope that's required for that particular package. So it's really quite an important package, that one. Next slide.
Thank you, John. So similar for the pipeline project, we have projects that I kind of rattled off a little bit when we had the due dates on there. This list is also in the handout that you have. But essentially for our package, we have the, as noted here, some of the small diameter pipes with the S10 package, the traffic control, and then the site service packages, including sweeping, dust control, janitorial, waste management, construction survey, and temp electric, as all packages that are open specifically for equity contractors. With that, I think the next slide, please. I'll turn it back over to Andre for some introductions of everyone who's here, as well as any questions.